All right, good day, our viewers. You are welcome back to Point Blank Talk Show on News Peddlers. This week, again, we'll be looking at matters concerning Badagry, Nigeria, and the world at large. Today, about Badagry, we've seen the Commissioner of Police who visited Badagry. At the visitation, he visited Area K Police Command at Okwafo Aziz. So at the visit, he raised a major point of discussion at the visit was the fact that there's a rising checkpoint on Lagos Badagry Expressway, and there is he has he laid emphasis on it that from now henceforth the checkpoint will be drastically reduced. At the same time, he called the attention of the traditional rulers that this checkpoint is not the only security agencies that are mounting checkpoints on this road. That there are indigenous youths in the areas that are mounting checkpoint claiming to be Omonile and some other NURT staffs that are mounting checkpoints on these roads. The blame shouldn't be put on the security police agency, and that he has visited the area, something will be done about. What do you think? Don't you think this is a laudable from the Commissioner of Police?
You see, when I hear that the CP visited Area K Police Command on Saturday, so I was happy about his visit, and I was anticipating that definitely we will hear something more meaningful from his visit. And for him to have said that there are multiple checkpoints in that axis, it was just a reflection of the fact of what is achievable in that area. And if you see the numbers of checkpoints, we have equally complained on this show, and there are several stakeholders of Badagry. We have even seen some of our honorable members too who have equally complained.
Apart from complaint, as the current an assembly member, and then he was an aide.
He was the senior special advisor
to the governor. We saw him on a video where he had to dismantle a checkpoint, and there was he took action then.
So all of these actions are insufficient to deter these people. Immediately he took that action to dismantle them.
They came back.
After that same time, they came back again. So it is something that requires a directives from probably the IG or the CP himself, who they are under his control. So, and for him to have visited and equally raised, because there are equally several traditional rulers who raised this same concern to him, that they have hindered a lot of business atmosphere in the area. And equally, the Badagry local government chairman has equally
come out. The person of
equally come out to condemn in clear terms that look, the duplication of checkpoints along these axes have equally hindered tourists from visiting this area. So many tourists have complained about too much checkpoints along the axis, and it has discouraged so many people from coming to that rich cultural tourist sites. So it is a laudable development that the CP visited Badagry, and we are hopeful that henceforth there will be drastic reduction in police checkpoint. The CP now has the jurisdiction of reducing police checkpoints. But there are equally other agencies who have duplicated themselves along that axis.
Not necessarily military, and
of course, not necessarily for a security purpose, but for extortionate purpose. Many of those checkpoints, we are not saying they are not doing their job, but at the most times, it is for extortionate purpose that they are duplicating themselves along that axis. There can be, they can reduce drastically the number of checkpoints, and again work in terms of like a joint task force.
That
instead of having separate police checkpoints,
point or
separate
separate
custom points,
or separate
separate military
military
points,
checkpoint,
all of this,
NDLA,
NDLA,
civil
they
defense.
can have if for security reasons,
Yeah,
they can have a joint
checkpoint.
task force,
Yeah,
a single,
checkpoint
checkpoint.
where all of them will.
All of them will assemble themselves and work collaboratively, especially to save economic hours
Yeah.
for people who are going about their normal businesses and for tourists who are equally visiting. Then, if they have about 4, 5, 6
Hmm.
from probably from
Agbara
Agbara
to
down to
Seme.
Seme,
Still
that
understandable.
is, a collaboration of, joint task force,
Yeah.
they will still do that their job, or they will carry out their job effectively without necessarily intimidating
People or people
people,
feeling
or
uncomfortable
people
using the
feeling
road.
uncomfortable using the road. You see, so many people in Badagry equally feel hostile about
De
accessing that road
Despite
due
the fact
to
that they are
they
citizen
are
or an indigene.
indigent, because they feel like, or they feel unsafe with the heavy presence of security
With
agencies.
several ammunitions and guns, heavy guns.
Exactly. So it is a laudable one, and we equally commend the efforts and contribution of several traditional rulers who equally voice out their, like the Oniwuru.
Yeah.
He equally voice out his own displeasure at so many things, and the Badagry local government chairman especially, for him to have even thrown his own weight
Yeah.
behind this issue.
And raising such a very much important
Yes,
point, looking at
tourism.
Badagry, a
Badagry will
business.
generate a lot of revenue from tourism.
Yeah.
And using security agencies presence to discourage tourists is making Badagry to lose a lot of money.
Yeah.
So in terms of revenue,
Over time, that has always been the complaint of tourists around this area, that the security presence is, and looking at some of the major, areas that people can enjoy themselves are even along these axis of
axis,
Seme, axis,
yes,
where
yes,
the security are even more heavy.
of
And
course,
so people think that what if somebody misfire, or eventually something happens, somebody
we have
unfortunate.
seen,
Meanwhile, since we have always been hearing several news of
yes, misfiring,
misfire and
of
unfortunate
course.
incidents along the axis, I think the government need to do more in terms of this checkpoint in this
That
axis.
is why I am suggesting that they should rather have, a collaborative joint task force and reduce the number of checkpoints along that axis. Like, just because now the commissioner of police will speak to the IG about the reduction. And if, of course, he has given his word that there will be drastic reduction, but this reduction, how effective is this going to reflect? Because it is not only the Nigerian police that are mounting checkpoint. Like, equally how the commissioner equally complained that, look, we shouldn't heap all the blames
For
on
the security
the
agency.
security agency.
That
We have individual
the traditional rulers to talk to their
traditional
children, the
people who are
community
equally
dwellers.
creating their own checkpoints. Now, it is now the duty of traditional rulers, and equally the duty of the local government chairman, and every means of trying to bring these people together, speak to them, and it has to be a conversation that will be more focused, in such a way that sending them out of those places will not lead to
more
them
insecurity,
becoming hoodlums, or becoming threats to the
even
society.
the CP Fayode said is even that the youth should look for something profitable to do, to improve the image of the country, and not to be engaging in such activities.
So for me, I think it is in the best interest of the community entirely, Badagry local government entirely, that they should look for ways to harmonize these guys. Look for ways to those that needs to go back to school should be sent back to school. Those that need any kind of support, let our leaders try to encourage these people. Those that needs any to go and
Empowerment.
learn, yes, skill jobs.
Some already have skills, but they don't have the financial capacity to
So
establish or
they should be empowered. And if they get empowerment, they should leave the road. That ideology of trying to enforce a checkpoint, their checkpoints are illegal. and trying to claim that they are indigenes of the community, and that is why they have to get money from people, extorting people, and all of these things are illegal, no matter how they want to phrase it.
Yeah.
They remain illegality, and they shouldn't be using their own private interest to suppress the interest of the state. Like tourists are getting discouraged. These
Yeah.
are issues of concern,
Yeah.
and
Affecting
revenue
the
base is
local government
reducing.
as a whole.
Exactly. So these are issues that should call the concerns of our leaders. They should look for means to get these people out of streets, out of the roads, and fix them up so that they won't become a nuisance to the
Because
community.
the question point thing is becoming a matter of serious concern in the sense that where at some point the House of Rep member in the person of Honorable Sesi Winga has come out to talk about it, that he's making serious attempts to make sure this thing is reduced. The assembly members are saying that they've raised this in the house, that my people are shouting about these things, and the chairman Only is out to say the same thing. Does that mean something is, if these are people that are the ends of affair in charge of the people are raising such concern for some years now, and nothing substantial is not coming out? Does that mean these people are above the authorities?
No, this is one thing you need to understand. It's not a matter of whether they are above the authority or not. But you were in this country and you see that there are issues of kidnapping going on in some states,
Yeah.
and the governor is incapacitated of calling on security agencies, especially the police or the military, to go after those people immediately, because they do not receive directives from the governor. So you do not expect them to listen or take instructions from them to go on special operation. Now we are talking about federal government agencies who are operating within
Okay.
the
Territorial space
territorial
of
space of a
Nigeria.
particular local government, which is
Yeah.
Badagry,
Yeah.
where in discussion. Now those agencies who are probably the police or every immigration and all of the rest, they do not take instruction
Um,
from those inconstituted authorities within Badagry. Probably the House of the chairman of Badagry local government, the House of Assembly members who are
Yeah.
representing Badagry,
Yeah.
the Federal House of Representative member who is representing Badagry, or even the senator who is representing Lagos West. They do not take instruction from these people. So for them, they will make their own efforts, but it is requiring, a directive. Their efforts should be channeled towards, meeting with those in helms of affairs. And I know before the CP came to, Badagry, some people must have met with him, which we
Yeah.
are not aware of. So some people must have met with him and will have discussed with him that, look, the situation in our community. Like recently, during the week, we saw a trending video
Yeah. Yeah.
where someone was, raising issues that, look, this is my personal motorcycle
Yeah.
that I use and I live in this place.
Yeah. A
I'm
border
in
community.
a border community. I'm a Nigerian, and my motorcycle needs fuel. And anytime, since they are not selling fuel in that axis,
Yeah.
so these people need to fuel their tank properly
Yeah.
for them to go and return, because most often they work within the major areas of, Badagry town. So for them to go, they have to fill their tank, then waste some of the fuel to go home, then coming back the following day, they still need the fuel. So, and he's complaining that, look, I fuel my own tank. I am not involved in smuggling. I did not buy fuel into jerry cans.
Yeah.
And look, security agencies have stopped me. They have, forcefully
Ask him to open his tank.
asked him to open his tank. They check, they saw fuel, and they, forcefully remove the fuel from his tank. So all of these are issues that demands some logical approach. Because if you look at it, are we saying that people in that axis do not have a right to fuel at all?
Even this, and for the issue about that is giving concern about the Badagry West axis is that this community over years does not have light. and the
20
20
kilometers.
kilometers stop of fuel to a border community has affected everybody in that community. So
Yes.
they have to buy from the town part of Badagry so that they can go to their community. Some they will buy little as 2 liters, 5 liters to their community so that they can charge their phones, laptops, and other just light their houses. But unfortunately, the security agencies will collect these 2 liters from them, and now they have even upgraded it to the extent that even with your private motorcycle, they will have to open your tank, take all
remove the fuel.
remove the fuels. How what in the same country where they are citizens of, what message do you think that is sending to the residents in that area?
You see, the issue is that we are not disputing the fact that if you look at it logically, the spate of
Smuggling, okay. Bunkering.
fuel smugglers, that is bunkering, it has increased that drastically, and it has majorly affected
The price of
activity
petrol.
and prices of fuel in Badagry.
Yeah.
Smugglers are increasing, they are on the rise, and you see, rather than intimidating harmless motorcycle riders, they should go after the smugglers.
Meanwhile,
They should have some of their agencies that will go to that will be stationed in filling stations.
yeah,
That will have and again, we could equally see the idea that even stationing some of their agencies in most of filling stations, there is likely tendency that they are bound to be corrupt.
yeah,
Accept bribe, look away, and allow these people to do their business. But if truly they are interested in stopping this illegal activity, one of the first things they should do is that, look, let there be a stakeholder meeting with petroleum marketers in Badagry. You should have a stakeholder meeting with them, inform them that, look, this is our country. There is a threat against our people. Now, we need you people to stop. You must put a stop to this. That these are selling of fuel to people that are involved in bunkering activity, and them. There is no filling station in Badagry that will deny. Yeah, I'm not excluding any part in the whole of Badagry local government that will deny that they do not know these people that are involved in smuggling. They know them. Once they come to their filling station, even in broad daylight, now they have the confidence that they sell to them, even in federal government own filling stations.
Yeah, because they buy it cheaper.
Yes, they sell to these people.
Even the funniest thing about that is that these smugglers will choke up this filling station. Even those people that need the fuel that are supposed to buy it for you run the businesses within the community will not have access to it. Meanwhile, these people will buy it and send it out of the country.
You see, all of these filling stations that are involved in this, including NNPC in Badagry, all of them are doing this. If you go to anytime you go to Mobi in Badagry, you will never go there without seeing queue. Heavy queue are always there. Are they telling me that it is only residents that are buying this fuel? Or all those personal consumption?
All those fuels are being consumed within Badagry.
Within Badagry. So these are some of the. Why should somebody come to your filling station and buy 50 liters of fuel in a jerry can? Why should somebody come there, even what that wants to buy into his car, that is buying more than 50 liters? Where is the tank?
Some are buying tanks, buying it, 200, 300 liters in a smoker where they have had extra tanks.
So there should be a kind of, a kind of implementation that no car can use beyond 30 or 40 liters
for a day. Or even at a go.
Exactly.
You can come back to buy more, but at a go, you can only say 30, come back, allow the others to buy.
Yes. So if these are in place, and they should have some of these security agencies to be stationed across this filling station to stop all of these things, then I think there will be drastic reduction, because intimidating people, harmless people who are buying 2 liters, who are buying 1 liter, or who are buying fuel into their tanks are just, for me, unnecessary.
There was one eyewitness. It was so touching. I had an assignment along the border axis. The motorcycle man that carried me had a pet bottle of fuel, of petrol. A pet bottle. He kept it on a part of. By the time we got to a checkpoint along the Owode axis, I was like, the security agency just had to check the bag. Next thing, he pull out the pet bottle with the fuel and told the bike man to be going. And I was like, and this person, the place is going, he may not have it, there's no fuel filling station along that axis for him to get fuel. And he has had that one as a backup for him to come back to the community. But and you just took it from him. Does that mean he is trying to smuggle that pet bottle of petrol outside the country?
These are some of the issues that happen. There is a saying that says that in Yoruba language they will say "Tí ẹlẹ́ṣẹ̀ bá ń jìyà, olódodo á pín ìyà." So this is just applicable in this sense. That is, if the sinners are suffering, the righteous will partake in it. And this security agency are using that chance, the avenue they have, that they have to stop smuggling, to intimidate people unnecessarily. And see, the truth of the matter is, even most of security agencies are equally aware. They know that most of those smugglers will not come through that route.
Yes.
They are aware of all of these things. They
They
know
have
that
special routes.
no smuggler will come, will buy those fuel and come through that place, except if they are ready to accept money from them and pass them. But these smugglers have their own special routes. They have their routes that they go through. So intimidating people that buy fuel into their own personal or private motorcycle, or bought a liter of fuel probably to on their generator since they do not have light in that axis, for me is uncalled for. They are Nigerians. They have rights to everything that Nigeria has to offer. So now depriving them of this right and making them second-class citizen in their own state is uncalled for. So for me, I think the visit of the CP is a laudable one. Equally, again, the CP raised another tangible points about the NURTW people who are equally constituting checkpoints across various places. These are equally some of the issues that we have been raising, but the police is equally culpable in this regard, because most often you see most of all these NURTW people constituting nuisance, and police
In the presence of the
yes,
police.
in presence of police officers, and police will even abate them. So you look at it from that angle and you think about it. Are they working in synergy? What is the response? You have seen over time that they commit a lot of acts without fear of anybody. They do not respect anybody. Even if a police officer is on the bus, they will still collect money from that driver or conductor, because they believe that is their right. In fact, they are so bold currently to the extent that even if military officers, army or air force or naval officer are on the bus, they still approach those bus and tell them to give them money. It is only when you see some active military men who will tell them, "My friend, move away from this vehicle." That is when you see them going back, because they know the consequence of their recalcitrant attitude. So for me, I think that the state has the power over these people. That is this
National Youth Transport.
the state has power over them. If we are not saying that the state should entirely scrap them off, because they are working under a union, a national union. But if the state will not scrap them off, let them reduce drastically their checkpoints, and the state should have a kind of special training to orientate these people on how to behave. They are road transport workers. They shouldn't be behaving like a tout. They are more or less a tout. So they should behave like a civil person in a civil society, and they should know how to interact with all of these drivers and how to get them engaged. It's not a thing that you move before you move from this bus stop to the next bus stop. You see
Some
another.
even go as far as destroying their vehicle.
Of course.
The breaking glasses, breaking the side mirrors, and
So you move.
several other things.
The annoying part is that before you move from one bus stop to another bus stop, you see them. You move from one bus stop to another one, you see them. So they are even more. They are more duplicated than even the police and so other security agencies.
Yeah.
So all of this needs a collaborative effort, both from government and the police. The CP should speak to the IG, because I heard that there probably are some IG squad too
Yeah.
on this axis. So they should speak to them, know how to reduce them drastically, and Area K Police Command. Thank God that that was where the CP visited. Area K should equally reduce
Its own
its
checkpoint.
own checkpoints, because most often you see people along that road, you hear they are from Area K.
Likewise, Morogo police station.
Exactly. So all of these things to be drastically reduced, and there should be a synergy between all of these agencies. They should work hand in hand and create a joint task force to
For
reduce the stress and pain people go through in that axis.
all right, thank you so much. We hope the relevant authority, see the need, to make life easy for Nigerians and make life comfortable for everyone in this country and for us to, have a seamless days economic activity and everything. All right. Secondly, now we'll be looking at Nigeria issues. During the week we saw a trending situation where three of Nigerian plane was seized, and this was eventually linked to an agreement between the Ogun State government and a Chinese, about 2 to 3 Chinese company. It was an agreement, to create a trade free trade zone, which is called Guangdong Ogun State Guangdong Free Trade Zone. Eventually the agreement was signed with a company. It was revoked at some point. The whole thing it started around 2007. Why it was revoked and signed with another company and was revoked before the issue led to court case, and the one of the Chinese company eventually secure a court judgment which fine Nigeria, which fine Ogun State government with a large sum of money, dollar, but the Ogun State government did not turn up, so leading to the affecting the Nigerian government and its assets outside the country, whereas several countries around the world has been seizing Nigerian government assets, buildings and so which eventually affected this three plane. One new one which Nigerian government was for president is about to got for the president, and the two other one that was old one which was supposed to be sold out. So with all these things, people are now saying that Nigeria is a giant of Africa. Why should we be going through all these, so all these situations that could be destroying the image of the country? And but this administration is coming out to say that this issue is not happening. It does not start in our time. So we are not to blame for this situation. So what do you think so far this can, because no we don't really know what is going to happen at the end now. So can you briefly enlighten the background further and what could be the end result?
Well, you see, in fairness to this administration, the problem is not what started with them.
Yeah.
It is a cumulative problem that eventually leads to and again, you equally need to understand that government is a continuum.
Mm.
So whether Mr. A was the one in charge when this problem started, or Mr. Z is now in power, the let me say the surety is Nigeria. So those they are dealing with right now is Nigeria, and not necessarily
The
party.
government of at a particular time.
No, they are not dealing with the government. They are dealing with Nigeria. And you see, this whole issue started since. I think let me briefly say this too. There was one too that happened during the time of the former administration, President Buhari.
Yeah.
During his time, there was this issue of P and ID,
Okay.
where Nigerian government and some foreign companies were involved in the case, and they sued Nigeria, and Nigeria was asked to pay a heavy amount of money. But in the end, they filed a case in court. The Nigerian government filed a case and they won. And they were able, but that same problem was not created by that administration. It was problem that was created during the time of former President Goodluck Jonathan. But that administration was able to resolve that problem. So another one coming up now. This whole issue started in 2001. 2001, when Nigeria and China signed a bilateral agreement between the two states. Now, fast forward to 2007, where the real actor came in place. Ogun State government happens to be the actor here, since Nigeria has signed a bilateral agreement enabling Nigeria to trade with China. So it is in view of this that Ogun State government signed the Ogun State Gandon free trade zone with a Chinese firm. Now, the agreement that was signed, the contract that was signed, 10,000 hectares of land was, allocated to the Chinese firm. But some of the, dangerous clauses in that thing is that about 82 to 83% of the, shares is controlled by Chinese firm. I don't know who does that. In your own country, a foreign firm should control about 82 to 83%,
including the executive part of the organization.
So it is extremely wrong. It shouldn't happen that way. Now, but that is not the problem. It is just some of the issues that led to the problem. Now, at some point, Ogun State government in 2007 signed that agreement. Now, subsequently, Ogun State government violated that agreement by, taking parts of the land, about 2,000 hectares, and it was awarded to Zhongshan company. It was to be an industrial area where companies
will comprise several
companies,
Chinese
schools,
companies,
hospitals, motor parks. All of these are going to be built, and the area is in Ibesa, the axis. So it was given to them. Fast forward to 2016 or 2017. I think so. Now, the Ogun State government revoked, since the first one has been, part of it, 10,000, 2,000 was taken to give to, this Zhongshan. And now, in 2016 or 17, thereabouts, this license that was given to the Zhongshan was equally withdrawn. And the Ogun State government is now claiming that, look, this land has been allocated to another Chinese firm, and that this Zhongshan company should withdraw from the site with immediate effect, or they face a forceful eviction, and they were advised to move out from the country immediately. In fact, it is in this process that, Zhongshan, about two of Zhongshan staff were arrested, and, they were detained, and, they were maltreated in the process. They were detained for about 10 days. And after this whole thing, those people left. And, this idea of grandstanding will never help. Arrogance of power is never the best. I think the government in power as at then displayed an arrogance of power, rather than going through the rudiments.
By going to
you have signed a contract. You need an expert lawyer to tell you the consequence of what you have signed. In fact, before you sign, you need the presence of a very learned lawyer, a skilled lawyer, who will tell you that, look, this is the consequence of this.
Even by the time they have changed their mind to withdraw it, it should be with the consent of the lawyer. That if you want to withdraw,
what is the consequence?
What are the processes?
Exactly. Now, they think that since we are able to achieve this with the first company, we can equally do that to Zhongshan too. So now they withdrew that same license from them, and they were treated in a very bad way, and Zhongshan was not happy with it, and Zhongshan took a step that was more smart than Nigeria or than the state government as at then. So they went to court, an international court in the UK, and they were able to obtain a judgment that says that okay, for you know the because as at the point where Nigeria government was evicting, Ogun State government was evicting Zhongshan, they have already started their perimeter fence. So who is going to be responsible for all of this money that has been invested in that? So they got a judgment, and the judgment states that Nigeria government should pay, Ogun State government should pay Zhongshan $55.6 million as at then, as a fine.
Yeah.
And again, I think another $75,000 was awarded against Ogun State government again for
Yeah. For the torture and
yes. So for all of these things, and probably the money got accumulated, and as a result, interest keep going on it. That was what now led to the current $75 million that Nigeria was asked to pay. So it is in view of this, Zhongshan took a very bold step by suing Nigeria to an international court, and equally they went to different other countries, about 6 other countries, and was lobbying those
countries
to freeze Nigeria assets based on the judgment they have obtained. So it is in view of this that the 3 presidential jets were seized. They were not the only properties that were seized, but it's because those are the major ones. The latest presidential jet that Nigeria bought is over $100 million. So look at that alone. That alone is more than enough money to pay
all the
debts. But they seize that, and they equally seize another 2 that Nigeria want to sell off. Then Nigerian government house in Liverpool were equally seized. So currently they have lobbied in Belgium that Belgian government should equally seize Nigerian government property, even in the US. So these are the basic issues here. Now, thank God that they have released 1 out of the presidential jet to Nigerian government. But we are not sure, even if after the president visits France, that they will seize it again until Nigeria pay that money. Rather than this attitude of showing force in your own country, you can go through the rudiment, go to court. These people, rather than exacerbating this issue to this extent, they could have, the Ogun State government back then could have gone to court to obtain a judgment from court to stop these people, or probably if you have a very strong evidence, if there is a reason for you revoking based on the fact that they stated back then that Zhongshan was defrauding Ogun State government, that the deal was unclear and all the rest. If you have a very valid claim, go to court with those evidences. Let these evidences speak for you in court, and let a court give that judgment in that regard that will invalidate their claims and will justify your reason for evicting them from your state. But rather, they choose to, be careless, and the other people were more smarter than them. And that is what has created problem for this present administration. It's not as if this present administration was, culpable in the act, but it is they became the major person these people are dealing with, because they are dealing with Nigeria and not an administration. And that is why this whole thing has gotten to the extent. We hope that Nigerian government will file a very strong case against these people, and hopefully they win and they get out of it, or else probably they should not start seizing Ogun State indigene.
All right, thank you so much. As regard that, we hope the Nigerian government do the needful as to settle these matters between the with the Chinese organization and the Ogun State government. Lastly, before we go out, we conclude our show today. We'll be looking at international events, international issues that happened during the week. During the week, we still saw the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war that has been ongoing for couple of years now. Over time, before now, we've seen Russia gaining an upper hand against Ukraine, and there's some form of celebration that hoping that the war will come to an end anytime soon. But fortunately, during the week, we saw a drastic change where Ukraine, fought back and took some regions in Russia, and Russia has come out to say something is going on somewhere. You guys are using Western ammunitions on us. Why should that happen? Meanwhile, Ukraine too is somewhere saying that you are using North Korea's weapon on me. So what do you think? What do you think is the would this result to in that region?
You see, the idea is this. Both states have been using the instrument of disinformation and misinformation as a strategy of war. So both of them have been, saying things that would discredit the other in order to gain, popularity in the global world. So the idea that Russia has been winning or Ukraine has been winning is not entirely correct. So both of them has made significant progress in their own different pace. And if you look at it, Russia has made some level of advancement in Ukraine, and in fact there have been recently a lot of strike on Kiev, the capital of Ukraine. There have been some strike where Ukraine has claimed that look, the weapon that these people are using are from North Korea. And we have seen the new turn in the war. Initially, Ukraine was trying to be civil by not attacking Russia. But my own idea of war, you are killing my own people, and you are telling me not to strike your own people. For me, it is not real. War is something that you use everything in your own disposal to equally win the war
or defend yourself.
to defend yourself. If striking back at your own people will force you to stop killing my own people, I think I will do that. So, and that is what Ukraine has been doing. Ukraine, rather than staying and fighting off Russians within Ukraine, Ukraine still devised another strategy by going after Russians. And of course, there have not been, a significant development in terms of killing Russians. But then, in the Kursk region, Ukraine has attacked several places, including oil facility. They have equally attacked about 2 bridges in Russia. And Russia has been saying, look, these people are now using Western ammunition. And it leads to the question that I will ask that, look, are they using Ukraine ammunition earlier on?
Since the beginning of the war?
Are they using Ukraine ammunition? They have been using Western made ammunition. So for me, war will always go in different directions. And at some point, the man with the rifle will decide what he will do.
Yeah.
The man who is giving you the weapon may tell you, look, do not strike on the Russian territory. Do not use our weapon to strike Russian territory. But the man who knows the pain and the suffering of his own people will tell you, look, this is my enemy. I will do everything to get at them. And that has been what Ukraine has been doing. If you look at that Kursk region, Ukraine is making significant advances in the Kursk region, and they have been able to, repel a lot of things even within Ukraine. And if you look at Belarus, has equally raised their alarm. Their president, his name is one something Chenko. I've forgotten his name now. The president of Belarus has equally come out to say Ukraine has stationed about 120,000 military men across its own border, that they are equally prepared to, fight back and to defend themselves in case Ukraine cross the line and, invade their country. But again, the capacity of, Belarusian military men are not even up to half of what Ukraine has stationed in that axis, because the capacity of their military is not up to, I think it's not up to 60,000. And for Ukraine to have stationed 120,000 military men in that region, it simply means that Ukraine is going to, you know, may likely attack Belarusia, because right from the beginning of the war, Ukraine has been, Belarusia has been supporting Russia. And in fact, Belarusians have equally been involved in the war directly through Russia. So for Ukraine, I think Ukraine is equally strategizing herself to, make significant advances and again to deter Russia or force Russia to the negotiation table. If Ukraine continue with her style of, attacking main Russia, it will get to a point where Russians will rise in protest against Putin and force Putin to end the war. So I think Ukraine is approaching a new strategy in that war that may yield significant results.
But over time, this war is becoming like something to live with. People think this thing will happen for a couple of months and it will end, but it's now growing to years.
You see,
so at some point, people are even forgetting that there's a war in that region.
Exactly. You see, that Ukraine-Russian war has, reduced the idea or debunked the idea that, Russia is a superpower, that Russia can easily capture Ukraine and, Russia can easily do what it wants. Against what happened in 2014, where Sevastopol surrendered easily. They captured Crimea easily in 2014 without any stress from Ukraine. But this time around,
the military men were just ordered out of the barracks.
Yes. So this time around, Ukraine has posed a lot of threats against Russia, and the pseudo idea that, Russia have that superpower and they can easily do anything they want to do is now, down. That Ukraine can hold them down for over 2 years and it's ongoing. So it shows that, weapon and preparedness is very, very important to war. And the level of mindset in the war is equally very important. And that has been what we have seen. They are getting used to it in Ukraine. It's no longer an issue. It was at the beginning that they were afraid and
some were trying to escape
and the rest. But currently, they are aware that, look, there is a war. We have to live with the war. We have to, fight for our country. We have to defend ourselves. And, of course, they are getting used to it.
All right. Thank you so much for being with us today. This is the Point Blank Talk Show. My name is Manoah Kikekon. With me on this show today is still Dovoeke Daniel. Try and subscribe and like and subscribe our YouTube channel, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Have a nice week ahead. God bless.